I'm recording this after I've already recorded the other audio. This is actually a brand new date, and I'm recording this. This is pretty much just a preface that this is pretty much going to be like a podcast episode, and it's pretty much just you're just listening. Like there's no real editing or anything like that. There's just art for like a background, so there's something there. But for the most part, this is me just talking about pretty much just like mental health and pretty much it's kind of a story time. But there's also me talking about stuff and why you shouldn't do certain things or whatever. But yeah, I just wanted to record this to put this in the front to be like just so people aren't looking for memes or anything like that. Like this is just straight me talking about stuff. Just something. This is like background noise video, right? This is something you put on while no intro today, just going right into it. I was thinking about part of D'Angelo Wallace's video about mental health, and there's part of that that I didn't really touch on that I kind of got into yesterday in my video as far as like mental health goes, but I didn't really get into it the way that I really felt that I should have, right? And it goes into what I'm titling this video of "It's Not Your Job." And what do I mean by that, right? What I mean by like it's not your job in that context, like I'm a person that's always been I've dealt with depression because I dealt with essentially just like acknowledging that my family doesn't really care about me, that my friends don't really care about me, and it really just like hit me in a place where I felt alone, right? And I honestly realized that a lot of the people that I cared about, whether it be within my friend group or it be within my family or things like that, a lot of those people I just stuck around because I felt that me being there, me being around them would not exactly like fix them or anything like that, but like I could try to be like a positive influence on those people, right? Because not gonna lie, you just used to hang out with just some horrible fucking people. Like I have some relatives that are absolutely horrible people, and they wonder why people don't come over and they don't call and nobody wants to get together for holidays and shit like that. And it's just like it's just a humongous mystery, even though it's clearly you. You're clearly the problem. You're clearly a toxic piece of shit. And all of the bad things that continuously happen to you that make you sit there bitch and moan and be like, why me, why me? And it's just like, damn, well, you could try being nice to a motherfucker every once in a while. That might help, you know? Like, like what, what do I mean by that, right? Like, when my daughter was a baby, my family had this cookout, right? And some of my cousins just like got together at like one of our local parks, was like, hey, you don't have to bring anything, you don't have to spend any money. Now if we like, unless you want to bring something to the cookout, but we're just doing this just because we want to get everybody together and hang out, right? And so we all did. And at the time I might have been like 18, 19, maybe, I don't know. I honestly don't remember. But me, my ex, my daughter who was the baby, this was before my son was born, and my ex's cousin, like we all wound up going to this cookout among some of my other family members. And I have this aunt that used to work for the government and she made good money, right? She used to go on vacation and stuff like that all the time. Like wouldn't ask anybody else or like if they wanted to go on vacation, like she would just get together with her other government friends and they would go out of town. And I mean they were going on cruises and going to New York and going all over the place, right? Never stopped once to ask if anybody wanted to go anywhere with her, right? Never, like not even her daughter, right? And So at the cookout, my cousins that hosted it also like, cause this is probably like in maybe September. I think this is like September because it was hot out, but I think it was like after my daughter had turned 1. So she was like literally like in diapers, right? She's teeny tiny. And in June was my mom's birthday. And those cousins had taken my mom out of town for her birthday, right? Now they left me and my daughter with other family members. We didn't get to go. They were just like, oh, even though the cabin and shit was already paid for, they were just like they made up some bullshit excuse that was just like, oh, we just can't bring any more people and things like that. And I'm like, but you're bringing my mom who's an extra person, like, they just made up some shit that was just like, we just don't want to bring you niggas, right? And I'm unfortunately that's the way I've seen it my whole life, and that's the way I'm just gonna take it. So they left me and my daughter with other family members. We didn't get to go, but they took my mom, and they didn't ask nobody else to go out of town, nothing like that. They just went, right? And so during this cookout, they start talking about all the things they went and did while they were out of town in Gatlinburg and stuff like that. And my aunt, who again is someone that was a shopaholic, who was always going out of town, was literally like has enough money to hoard, like it, like I mean, like the amount of times we've had to just like stop for a weekend and clean out the entire household because she would not stop buying shit. Like I can't even tell you how many times we've done that over my lifetime, because she would just will not stop buying shit, right? She has a problem and I've never addressed it whatsoever. So we're at this cookout and they're talking about the trip that they went on. And my aunt starts getting all pissy because she's like, well, why didn't you invite me? Why didn't you invite me? And her daughter, my cousin, also backs her up, like, yeah, what if we wanted to go? Now she didn't even get invited to none of the shit that my aunt normally goes to. So the fact that she was even trying to defend her was kind of funny. But everybody really just like kind of stopped and looked at each other and was just like, blood, you always go in places and never take nobody and never ask. So why are you over here getting mad that one time this part of the family goes somewhere and does something and you not included and you upsetty spaghetti, right? But it's like you never really gave a fuck about us before, so what's the difference now? And it wound up causing this whole big fight, this whole big schism. And like I'm a little bitty, so like when I was like 18, 19, like of course like I still wore glasses. Like I was like fresh out of school. Like I was like we weren't even like out on our own then yet. We were like I wasn't even like working a full job. I was actually, I think I might have been like home for the weekend from Job Corps or something like that. I genuinely don't remember. It's been so long. But anyways, most of my relatives are a lot bigger than me, right? So all of them start getting in each other's faces and all this other stuff and hollering and screaming and doing all this stuff and carrying on. And at a certain point, like the argument just got so heated because again, a fucking hypocrite cannot accept when they are just wrong, that it causes a massive schism in the family. Everybody just gets their shit and they're just like, I'm leaving. And like, cause like at a certain point, cause again, they all getting up at each other's faces. And these are all big ass men and women. Like I'm a size 6, okay. I'm maybe 140 pounds. Like, and not even right now. Like I'm 130 pounds. The only reason I wouldn't be afraid to take one of them niggas right now is because I'm in probably better shape than any of them have ever been in their life, right? And that's because I chose to keep myself healthy and shit like that. Like, but that's besides the point. Like at the time, I wasn't about to get in between a bunch of big niggas arguing and hollering and stuff. Like we're no, they at least thank God none of them carried like weapons or nothing like that. They don't run like that. But it was just like, I'm not taking a punch for none of y'all, okay? And I told my ex, I was just like, get the baby, we're leaving, and we did. We just bounced. And after that situation, like my family never really recovered from that because those two hypocrites, the most toxic people in the group, refused to accept that they were hypocrites and that they were toxic. And it was just like it was like honestly like now that I'm in my 30s and just like think back to this, I'm just like it's astounding because I'm just like y'all were big grown in big grown ages and are carrying on and upset because you weren't invited. Like you're not the main character, type of shit. And it like where it comes back to the whole like it's not your job. It's not your job to invite everybody. It's not your job to include everybody. Like those cousins went on a vacation and chose to take my mom because I guess my mom had like helped them out with something like that, and they were just trying to show their appreciation. Again, the fact that me and my daughter got left here was, again, still bullshit, but it is what it is at this point. It's been like 14, 15 years. So ain't nothing to be done about it, right? But it pissed me off in a moment. And like it's just like it's not your job to include it or make everybody feel included, right? Like they just wanted to go enjoy their vacation. And I don't know if those family members have ever apologized or ever tried to reconcile over that because it's just like family relationships have just deteriorated over the years and no one really gives a fuck about like making it better, right? Which is funny because all of them are getting up in their big ages, are getting up in their gray hairs and it honestly astonishes me that from that moment like things did not keep going well for those family members, right? And I mean, over the years, they've continued to be toxic and be nasty and have gone through so many life altering changes in their bodies and their minds and things like that and have continued to be negative and toxic the entire time and pretended like they don't know why these things are happening. Oh, I'm praying and I'm asking God and I'm just trying to figure it out. And I'm just like there's nothing really to figure out. You've been a nasty piece of shit your entire life. You've been like a fucking you just been like a, sorry to bring Pokemon into this, but you've been like a fucking Grimer. Y'all have just evolved into muck and you continue to be a giant piece of slime that makes everyone around you nauseous and toxic and poisonous and they don't want to be around that. That's why no one comes over. That's why when y'all did go through life altering shit, no one came over. No one cared. You know why? Because y'all have treated everyone around y'all so horribly and expected to be treated like the main character, like it was everyone else's job to take care of y'all. It wasn't. It wasn't whatsoever. Like if you wanted to be taken care of, y'all should have showed some humility, showed some remorse, showed some, like, I don't know, some sort of human emotion that wasn't negative. And maybe somebody would have gave a fuck. Maybe more people would have called. Maybe more people would have cared. Like, it just, like, it's just astounding, right? And another part that I really wanted to get into where it's just like it's not your job to it's not your job to make people happy. It's not your job to include people. It's not your job. You living your life, and like it is not your job to make other people happy, make other people better, make other people anything. If people want to be better, they need to get off their asses and do the work and call niggas and apologize and act like they have fucking souls. But you know what? People don't do that. People don't want to do that. And they wonder why their kids stop coming to family holidays. They wonder why nobody talks to them. They wonder why they sit alone in their house. Sure, you got a bunch of stuff, but sitting there by yourself with your stuff, that's not going to feel that good now, is it? It's not. We can pretend like it. We can pretend like, oh, I'll be fine. I have my stuff. But how many motherfuckers have had everything in the world and still wind up hanging from their closet? You know, you know, like let's be so for real, okay? So the other part I wanted to get into was just like this is just from my personal standpoint where like I like when I was in school and I don't remember if I mentioned this or not, But like when I was in school, I originally went for healthcare administration because I enjoy healthcare. I enjoy, helping, and I think, I think being a friendly face when you're already going through something tough like a health struggle is just like something that I like to do, right? However, nursing is not for me. I can't deal with other people's bodily fluids. I can barely deal with my own spit and things like that, okay? So, dealing with anybody else's shit, things like that, no. Nursing was never going to be for me, okay? This is why pharmacy was enough because I could put the pill in the bottle, put the label on the bottle, hand it to the pharmacist, put it in a bag. Thank you. Have a nice day. That's good enough for me, okay? That that is plenty for me. That is plenty enough contact for me. I listen. I considered nursing for a hot second when I was just like, because I'm just like I'm smart enough, I'm athletic enough to be able to handle that kind of shit. But it's like I cannot deal with other people's bodily fluids and stuff like that, especially like still being in the midst of like different viruses and stuff going around and people not masking. Like I literally was like in the gym doing my business this morning and heard a girl talking on the phone loud as fuck, went to the bathroom, heard the toilet flush, did not hear the faucet, did not hear the soap dispenser, did not hear the hand dryer, and I'm like, oh no, no, you nasty bitch. Like, so it just, I'm good, right? Like, like, no, 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 ma'am, no, ma'am, no, ma'am, no ham, no, nothing. No, nah, I'm good. Like, like I even asked, like one of my brother's baby mamas is a nurse practitioner, and I was just like, how did you go about nursing and stuff like that? And we talked a little bit, but I was just like, I can't do it, man. Like I can't. I've heard enough stories, like not even from just like her, but like from a different family member that was going through nursing school. From there was a YouTube nurse that I was watching for a little while, and even she was just like, yeah, I poop flung directly into my face, and I'm like, see, that's not for me. That's not for me because I'm immediately gonna try to beat your ass. Like I'm not that kind of person, right? I don't have it in me to turn the other cheek when people are hissing and spitting and flinging their bodily excretions at me, okay? I'm not going to be nice, okay? I'm going to fucking swing and take my anger directly out on you. Like I'm I'm not that guy. So I was just like, all right, nursing, not for me. Pharmacy though, pretty cool. Still get to say big words, still get to learn smart people things, still get to deal with vaccines and all that shit, but you don't really have to deal with people's like touching people and stuff like that, right? I don't really have to deal with none of that. Even though like I'm not in pharmacy right now, it was just like I listen, I am not the guy for nursing, all right? I'm not that guy. I am accepted, and that's okay. Like even like yeah. So moving on, but like it just like going back to healthcare administration. Like again, like I went into it because of like I thought it was something like I genuinely was just like because when I was going to school, I was probably like 23, 24, somewhere along those lines. Like my kids were still really little, and I was working third shift, so I was working third shift. So this was my schedule for a while I was in school. I was going to work at 10 o'clock at night, getting off work at 7 o'clock in the morning, going home, taking like a 30-minute nap as like my ex got the kids ready to go to daycare or whatever. Would go to school for 3 4 hours, whatever day it was that I had classes, and get out of school probably like 2 3 in the afternoon. I don't even remember. Would go home, sleep for a few hours, or at least try to, because again, I had little kids, and would do it all again. And like I luckily I worked 7 and then I was off 7 because that was my schedule working third shift. And so luckily it was like, okay, I only have to do this for 1 week at a time, and then I'm off. And it was rough. It was fucking rough because like yeah, it did not matter how much caffeine I crammed and things like that. Like it was just it was tough going, and then it made it even tougher that I hated the classes I was in because it was just like this is just paperwork, this is just homework all the time. Like oh my god, accounting. My first of all, I had to redo my accounting class because the teacher did not teach. She just read off the PowerPoints, and then like I don't even remember anything else for real. I just remember the PowerPoints and how she just like sat there smiling like she was doing such a good job, and I'm like, you're not really teaching us anything. Now, when I had accounting the second time around, I had a teacher that actually taught us what we were supposed to learn, and I actually understood accounts receivable and shit like that. With the first lady, she didn't teach us shit. She sat around reading PowerPoints, and she felt so good about herself. And well, I mean, she made it look like she was happy with herself. Boy howdy, she because and I wasn't the only person to repeat that class either. I don't know if that really weighed in on anything or how they like graded teachers and shit like that. I don't really know. But yeah, no, I hated the classes. I hated the subject matter, and eventually I wound up transferring from healthcare administration to veterinary technician. I was gonna get my degree to be a vet tech, and eventually go on to be a veterinarian. Right, was my thought process. But like even in those classes, like, and I love animals. I love animals. Again, I love like just the idea of healing and helping and things like that. But it wound up just not being for me because not that it wasn't what I thought. Like I wanted to be a wildlife biologist when I was younger, and I understood just like sometimes you can't save an animal and stuff like that. But I realized that veteran like being a vet tech, especially at like some animal shelters, like sometimes they were just unnecessarily cruel, right? And what really fucked me up, besides the teachers, they were the ones that really fucked me up in the end. But what really fucked me up was that there was one day we were doing our labs, and we had this cat come in, and she had been surrendered. She had really overgrown claws, right? And she was so cute. She was so cute. Her fur was so soft, and she was so just absolutely the sweetest kitten. No, not a kitten. She's probably like 3 or 4 years old. It's the sweetest cat I've ever met. She would always try to like because she couldn't really put her front paws down. She like was always sitting on her back legs and like always trying to touch noses with you and give you kisses. She was just the most precious baby ever, right? But her claws had overgrown so much that they were digging back into her paw pads, right? And so they were like, okay, we're gonna try to sedate her. We're gonna give her a little bit of sedation, and we're gonna try to clip her nails and stuff, right? Because she was so precious. Like I honestly was just like, oh my gosh, I love this cat so much. I wanted to take her home that day. My ex was like, we're not bringing a cat home. We already have too much on our plate, and he was right. But I wanted that cat so badly, man. Like she was so sweet, right? And so we sedate the kitty, and we don't fully put her under. We just give her enough to like relax her and stuff like that. And we're trying to clip her nails and stuff like that, but of course it hurts her. So she's still kind of pulling on her paws and stuff like that. She's meowing and things like that. And it was getting close to time for us to be done with the lab. So they were just like, well, we'll leave her. The like our veterinarian that was working with us was just like, hey, we'll leave her for right now. Let her rest a bit. We'll see what we can do as far as her nails and stuff, right? Which I'm just thinking, like, I mean, all they would have to do is just, fully put her under, clip the nails, and boom, that's a whole healthy cat that has nothing wrong with her, right? So we only had lab, like I think, like it was like once a week or something like that. So something. It was like it was spread out, right? So we weren't doing labs like every day at this animal shelter. But the next time we came back, like we were like, "Oh, where's the kitty? Where's the kitty?" Because we were all like excited to see her. Because we were just like, only thing I needed to do was clip her nails. And they told us that they put her down, and we were like, "What?" Like, I wasn't even the only one that was just like, what the fuck? Like, even like the rest of my classmates were like, why would they put that cat down instead of just sedating her fully and clipping her nails? That was all that needed to be done. That would have been easy peasy. She would have literally been adopted probably like within a week. She was so sweet. And I'm just like, they just fucking killed her. And I was like, holy shit. Like, it was at that moment that I really started to question, like, is this what I want? Is this going to make me happy? Because this type of shit, if this is the type of shit that I have to come to work to for $12 an hour, people unnecessarily killing animals because they're fucking lazy, yeah, nah, this isn't for me at all. Fuck that. Like, so I wound up I didn't wind up quitting the program then. What fucked me up was again the teachers in the program, because when we first started doing labs, it was so I'm from Cincinnati. I've said this before, and the shelter that we were going down to was in Kentucky. And I'm not really familiar with Kentucky, and I at the time, like, we were familiar with how far away the place was, or like traffic or anything like that. So the first day we did labs, because they were just like, if you're late to lab, then you just automatically fail the class, right? So I got the lab late because, again, I'm working third shift. I'm tired as fuck. And I don't know, like, we don't know where we're going. We're doing our best to get there. But I wound up getting there, like, probably like 10 minutes late. And they were just like, come on. But, like, class has already started or whatever. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, I'm going to be sent home or whatever. And they didn't. So we keep going with labs, like, through the classes and stuff like that. And the day before finals, my teacher and her assistant vet tech pulls me to the side, and they're like, so you've already actually failed the class because you were late to lab. And at this point, it's been over a month since we had started doing labs and shit like that, right? And I'm like, wait, what? And they're like, yeah, unfortunately, you've already failed, unless you can fill out this form and tell us why you were late. Like, maybe you got a flat tire or something like that. And I'm like, I look at the paper and I look back at this bitch and I'm just like, so y'all been letting me come to lab for the last month and a half, however the fuck long it's been. Y'all just been letting me come to lab, even though I already failed the class, and waited till now, the day before finals, to tell me this, that unless I have a good excuse, it doesn't even matter. And I'm like, see, I was upset because I'm just like, see, had y'all just stopped me ahead of time, I could have just dropped the class, picked up another one, or just taken the time off to fucking sleep and rest and be at home with my kids, you know? So I'm sitting there looking at these motherfuckers, and I'm like, the rage was building. I was so ready to swing on all those motherfuckers in that room. And I was just like, well, I don't really have an excuse, and I don't really, like, I'm not familiar with the area. I've already told you I work third shift. I have two small children. I'm tired as fuck. Like, I don't have to look, like, I don't fuck around in Kentucky. I live in Ohio. I live in Cincinnati. Where I go around, that's where I'm around. I have no reason to come down to Kentucky. So, no, I don't have an excuse. No, I'm not gonna make up an excuse. But, y'all have a nice day. Don't Y'all are not gonna see me tomorrow for the y'all not gonna see me for that exam. And y'all are bullshit for waiting for the day before exams to tell me this, you know? Like, you should have just let me drop the class, let me stay home and get some damn rest and be with my kids, and instead y'all pulled this bullshit. So, what did I do? I went home that day. I was like, man, it's some bullshit. And I don't even remember. I don't even remember if I had to work that night or not. But I knew damn well I was not going to exams the next day, and I did not show up. And those motherfuckers were calling me. These niggas emailed me. they were so pressed and wondering why I wasn't there. And I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? Why am I not at the exam? You told me I already failed the class. Why the fuck would I show up? Why would I show up for an exam that I didn't study for because you just told me I've already failed the class? I did not finish studying for that exam. I did not give a fuck after that moment. And honestly, after they fucking killed that cat for no fucking reason, I don't really want to be a vet tech anyway. Like, the only reason I kind of wanted to get into the vet tech program was because they had kind of a partnership with one of the local hospitals taking care of like there's like research animals or something like that. And that was like the only thing that really interested me, right? But like as far as I was concerned, like I didn't really want to be a vet tech. Like watching y'all be cruel to animals for like peanuts an hour, no thank you. I'm good. That's not the whole purpose of me wanting to essentially like be an animal nurse, right? That's not what I'm here for. So that type of shit, I was just like, yo, I'm good. Yeah, no. And I did not. I wound up not coming back to that school because I mean it was Brown Mackie, and this was honest. This was actually right before they got shut down anyway for being a scam school. So I mean, luckily I wound up being able to get my student loans discharged anyway, just because it is Brown Mackie. I think that's actually I think still in process with the Board of Education, but I've already gotten so many emails about it that they're like, yeah, no, we're working on getting this dropped for you because there's like this Brown Mackie was a scam. It was a scam from the start. It turns out they were lying about everything. So like the fact that I had a homie that made it out and actually did like get his degree and stuff like that and got the job that he wanted and stuff. Like honestly, big hand claps to him. Like truly. Cause I'm just like, yo, I did not have that good of a time. This was a pain in my ass the entire way through. And I mean, I don't regret it. It definitely was eye opening. But I'm like, holy shit, this is not it. This was not what was going to essentially help me out. And yeah, from there I really just wound up fuck, I don't even remember what I wound up doing. Like I definitely remember not long after that I actually wound up quitting my third shift job because it was at a Walgreens. And I was having problems with the manager, but I'm pretty sure I told that story about almost getting into a fight with my gay manager because he was a piece of shit. But it wasn't because he was gay. It was because he was an actual drunk ass loser who wouldn't go to rehab and told me that he spent a $30,000 inheritance on an apartment that he didn't own. And when I looked at him like he was 14 carats of crazy, he was just like, well, I mean, I spent it on dishes and like remodeling my apartment, and even though it's like you rent the apartment, you don't own the apartment. You rent the apartment. You rent an apartment and you spent thousands of dollars on like not buying a car or just like saving it, like investing it, nothing like that. Like it was crazy, man. It was crazy. I've dealt with a lot of crazy ass people in my life and just like seen and heard some absolute nonsense that did not make any sense to me. Didn't make any sense to me then, does not make sense to me now. And not gonna lie, it's just it just is what it is, right? But this has gotten way off topic from where I originally going with was going with as far as like the it's not your job. I mean, that definitely it was not my job. It was not going to make me happy. And yeah, I think I'm gonna make this just like a podcast. And yeah, because it was it like I originally started this out was just like it's not your job to make other people happy or try to fix them and things like that. Even though it literally went into like it's not this is not your job. It not being literally not your job being not the job for you or for me rather. But to get back onto the topic of it's not your job to fix people or help people or whatever. I guess to end this off, so I used to hang out with a group of friends that like I had known since high school, right? And like we weren't super close in high school, but as we got older, we all just we kept in touch and we hung out and stuff like that. And we got cooler and shit like that. So uh I kept hanging out with them even though it was just like it was crazy because like when back when I still used Facebook and stuff like that, like if any of them got into some sort of like argument or something like that, they would all jump to each other's defense, right? But if something happened with me and they knew about it or they saw it, they wouldn't say anything. Like they'd make a comment in like the group chat or whatever, but they would never publicly support me through anything. And I used to say that like all the time. And I'm just like, it'd be nice if you motherfuckers would have my back. And he's just like, no, you got it, you got it. And I'm just like eventually I just got sick of this shit, right? Because I was just like, yeah, okay, like I mean, all right, whatever. You know what? You're right. I do got myself. That's fine. And eventually me and another person in the group started dating and it wasn't for very long and you'll understand why. But me and another person in the group started dating and it was cool for a little while and I was like pretty excited about it. I don't know how they felt because like I'm pretty sure that they just lied to me the whole time about how they felt and stuff like that. I like it. There's a lot of stuff that it's like it's crazy that even knowing this person for over 10 years, when things started coming out about them, it was like, wow, I did not know this motherfucker at all. And that was so crazy to me. But at the same time, it's like, no, sometimes you can know somebody for years and years and years. Y'all can talk every single day and you still not know that motherfucker because they've never once been open and honest with you as a person. That and that's not on you. That's on them. That's on them for not treating you with any sort of courtesy or kindness or like you matter, right? Again, like same group of friends did not support me through shit. Like so it's like, all right, whatever. But there was this one time where it was just like this is when it started to get to the final straw. And so we got together for like a kind of like a D&D kind of night, right? It wasn't D&D, but it was like one of those like tabletop game nights. And we all had to like we had like they had like a little like digital spinner thing and it's like all right, everybody hit the spinner and it'll give you a character and then you can like you'll get like a weapon and stuff like that. And we did like a little tabletop game, right? And so everybody's talking about their character and stuff like that and the little creature I got, I still to this day cannot remember what this little fucking thing is called, but I remember what it was like described like. And I remember the name of the creature started with a Z, and it was supposed to be like some little like some little homunculus creature. And I've seen it before online. I've seen people draw the creature, but I don't know. I cannot for the life of me tell you what it's fucking called, right? But I've seen people draw the little creature, and it's like some sort of little like some like little homunculus lizard girl thing with a really long tail, and it has like white skin and like red eyes and like red marks and stuff like that on it, right? And I can't remember for the life of me what this critter is, but I know for a fact that it's like I know I have art of it in my phone somewhere. I guess I'll like I'll edit it in if it's if I do find it for this. But so I got that little creature, right? And I thought it was just like, oh, that's neat, but it was just like it wound up like I wound up being like the character with like the highest like DPS and stuff like that. So it's like I was essentially integral to the campaign that we were doing that night, right? And so everybody else gets their character and stuff like that, and they're picking out names and being like, oh, uh like everybody's just like picking out names and talking about their accessories and stuff like that. And I was just like, oh, I was like, I think this little critter is cute, but I was just like, it's naked. I don't want like a little naked. I don't want my little lizard girl to be naked. I think I'm gonna put like a scarf or like a swimsuit or something like that on her, like just a little bodysuit or something, just so she not like running around all naked. And one of my friends was just like essentially was just like, no, you can't do that. And a and a tabletop D&D kind of campaign was like, no, you can't customize your character, even though everybody else is sitting around talking about how they're going to customize their character, right? And I was like, what are you talking about? Yes, I can. I can do whatever I want with my character. I was just like, because I had like weapons and stuff like that, and I was just like, I can do whatever I fucking want. And this friend was like, "No, you can. You can't put like essentially like, no, I can't put a swimsuit on my character. It has to be naked, or people will think it's weird." And I'm like, I don't give a fuck if it's weird or whatever, right? So like, the game just immediately before the game even started, like people were hostile for no reason. And I was just like, this is really weird that y'all are getting so up in arms because, like, I was the only one there that everybody else was just like, well, she said you can't do it. She's the game master. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck if she's the game master. Like, I want a swimsuit for my creature. We're doing a customized, like, this is a random tabletop game where the whole point of the game is to customize your character, right? So I was just like, all of y'all shut the fuck up, right? And it was pretty much a room. It was pretty much a 5v1. No, like a 4v1, right? And I'm just like, I don't give a shit. Like, you niggas ain't gonna stop me. So the game started out before the game even started, everybody was hostile and shit because I wanted to put a swimsuit on a naked little lizard homunculus girl. Like, it was weird, right? So as we're like we finally get the game started and stuff like that. So anytime it was my turn and I wanted to make a move, like the game master was just like, no, you can't do that. No, you can't this. No, you can't that. And I'm like, all right, bet. So what I decided to do was I just left the main group all together, right? Like that we were supposed to like we're supposed to be we were in this town, we're getting a quest from like a king or some shit like that. It was like go to this dungeon and do this, kill this monster or whatever, and we'll go from there. Like y'all be rewarded or shit, right? So right after the second we get out of the throne room and back into the town, I leave. I leave the group. I leave the group and go wandering through the streets and they go over to the dungeon or whatever, and they just like, "You not coming?" I'm like, "No, fuck that." And I was like, "Y'all want to keep fucking with me? That bet, right?" So I left the group, and I'm just like running around the town, crawling under stalls, being a weird little goblin creature, right? Because like I'm not doing anything, but I'm just like she's more and more like pissing me off because she's just like making comments about the stuff that I'm doing, but I'm just like, you not gonna let me play the game, so I'm gonna play the game how I want to play it, right? And how I want to play it is not gonna end well for the rest of y'all, right? So I'm like, all right, well, you know what? That's cool. So I start like they're going to the dungeon and looking for the monster and doing all the other stuff. And everybody around the table is mad as fuck at me, right? Because I'm going around the town, picking up stuff and just throwing random rocks at people, messing with the guards and stuff like that. And eventually I get like a crowd of people like following me, right? And I'm like scuttling around through the town and finally I make it to like a market area, right? And I'm like, ooh, big market area, right? This is a medieval town, right? Big market's got to have a big blacksmith, right? And they're like, yeah, there's a smith. I said, all right, I'm going into the smith. I want to get as many torches as I can carry, light them all on fire, and just start throwing them everywhere. And I'm like, I'm finna burn this motherfucker down, right? So I wind up lighting the town on fire, trying to blow up the blacksmith, not like the actual smithy, but like the building itself. I start trying to burn everything down. I start like grabbing torches, lighting stalls on fire, grabbing like knocking over barrels of oil, smashing lamps, stuff like that. I just start causing a fucking ruckus, right? I don't even remember what the fuck everybody else is doing at that point because they just watching me act they fucking they just watching me turn into a demon, right? And
I'm like, yeah. So I eventually get the guards called on me. I get surrounded. Now again, I'm the character with the highest DPS. I am the fighter in the group, right? Well, not the fighter, but I'm the best fighter in the group. I probably would have made this shit super easy for everybody else had they just fucking stopped, not fucked with me, right? But they did. They chose to fuck with me. So what I wound up doing was taking out a bunch of guards before I eventually I wound up burning like half the town down, taking out a bunch of guards before I eventually just threw myself on their swords. And then once they got back from they actually went through the quest and stuff like that and beat the monster and went back to the king. And he's like, I'm not rewarding you because yo fucking burned half the city down. They were just like, y'all companion bird half the city down, so you're not getting your reward. So essentially, we spent the whole night playing a tabletop game for no fucking reason because I was just like, y'all wanted to fuck with me over absolutely nothing because I'm I'm a pretty modest person, right? I just wanted a fucking bodysuit for my naked little lizard girl, and that upset you so fucking badly that instead of just letting me have the bodysuit, I had to ruin your fucking game. And from that moment, we was all hostile as friends. And even the person I was dating was just like I mean, eventually I wound up breaking up with them too. But I mean, it turns out that they were hiding stuff. Like they actually not that they were trying to set me up, but they had essentially people watching me. And eventually it got to the point where it was just it got to be so much and they wind up just literally just popping off on me in DMs like for no fucking reason, and I was just like, what are you tripping on? Like, I have no idea why you're acting like this. I keep trying to talk to you and you don't want to talk, and now you just want to snap off at me. And I was just like, you know what, fuck you. Like, honestly, I'm like, I see why. I was just like, I see why your relationships have not lasted over 6 months, like any of them. And it's crazy because I dated that person for 4 months. We were dating, so it's like it's over the 90-day limit, but it was still under. I was just like, yeah, you have a 6 month limit for a reason because you don't know how to talk to people, you don't know how to open up. Like, it's crazy that we've been friends for this long and I didn't know none of this stuff about you. And it turns out there was a lot of stuff that they were hiding from me that wound up coming out later. But it was at that point we weren't friends, we weren't dating, we weren't anything, so I didn't give a fuck. I was just like, man, that ain't my rodeo, not my circus, not my clown. So whatever. But yeah, that whole that whole night, like, man, that shit stuck with me, and I'm just like, y'all really got mad at me because I wanted to be modest in a game, in a tabletop game where customizing your character is like a huge portion of what the game is about. And yeah, man, it's not your job to make people happy. It's not your job to just tuck tail and do what somebody wants just because they want you to do it. No, it's not your job to make people happy. It's not your job to make people follow you or things like that. It's not your job to do anything like that at all. And yeah, it was just like, honestly, I stuck around with those people way longer than I should have because it was very apparent for a long time that they pretty much were just not good people. But again, me thinking that, like, me just trying to be nice, or me trying to maybe me being a good person and talking about how certain things make me happy, like, I don't I don't know, like helping a little old lady like take a case of water to her car or something like that. Like, it's stuff like that that would just be like, oh, I did this nice thing for someone and it made me happy when she was like, thank you, baby. Because I love that shit, right? I love when older people are like, thank you, sweetie, thank you, baby. And I was just like, yes, I am, baby. Like, oh my god, you're so right. So like when old ladies are like, thank you, baby, thank you, sweetie, and I'm like, oh, oh, you're always welcome. Yes. Like, I just fucking melt because I love that shit. And I remember telling stories like that, and they would be like, "Oh my God, you're too nice." And I'm like, "What the fuck do you mean I'm too nice? Does it not make you happy when a little old lady infuses you with the power of sweetheart, baby doll? Like, maybe you're just an awful piece of shit that people don't like and don't ask you to do things because you clearly don't care about anyone else but yourself. You haven't grown to that point where you can care about anybody but yourself, hence your issues with relationships and communication." And a lot of things start to, like, in hindsight is always 20, well, not always 2020, but in this case hindsight was 2020, and I'm just like, yeah, your issues with communication are very apparent because you haven't learned to care about anyone else besides yourself. Like, that much is very true, like very true. And all in all, I'm just like, I honestly should have stopped being friends with those people a long time before it even got to that point, right? But I just I held out the hope naively that they would, like, my good vibes, my happy go lucky golden retriever vibes would rub off and, you know, maybe help some of these people become better people. But it's like, if you don't want to be a better person, and if you don't, first of all, if you don't think there's anything wrong with the way that you act, that, like, you're not going to want to do anything differently, right? And a lot of them saw nothing wrong with the way that they acted. And I mean, there was a lot of fucking crazy stuff that happened previously, as far as, like, in that friend group. There was a lot of stuff that I was just like, dog, you don't need to be doing that, like, at all. Like, this is me as your friend trying to tell you, like, yo, this is harmful. Okay, like, please don't do this. Like, and they'd be like, no, it's cool. And I'm like, oh, all right. I guess it's shit. It's cool with you. Like, my mom has this phrase, if you like it, I love it, but that's just her way of, like, removing responsibility and accountability for raising the nigga that was doing crazy shit. That honestly, she used to just say that shit about my brother and sister when they were start dating some crazy motherfucker who would scratch up their cars and all sorts of the other shit. Or whenever my brother would put his hands on one of his girlfriends, and she'd be like, "Well, you like it, I love it," and I'm just like, "Way to, way to not accept responsibility for raising an absolute monster of a man. Like, way to just drop that off a cliff and be like, well, it's not my fault. It's not my responsibility." Yeah, sure. I guess he just has a fucking criminal rap sheet that's like a mile long of his own volition. Which, I mean, like, on one hand, yeah, it absolutely is all his own choice. He made the choices to put his hands on these girls and kick in their doors and all sorts of other shit. And my mom would just be like, "Oh, my baby boy, I can't believe he's done this. Wow." Or I'll save that for another time. But yeah, nah, my mom just, like, would just, like, look the other way whenever my brother would do fucked up stuff. And it's crazy because it was like, shit, if I did anything, say, like when I quit school, it was just like, oh, what a tremendous failure. And I'm just like, dog, at least I'm at home with my kids, being with my family, taking care of business, like paying my bills and, like, being faithful to my partner. Like, I I was at home literally just doing housewife shit, living my life like I thought was supposed to be lived. And it's just like, yeah, no, that it was never good enough for anyone else around me. And I honestly used to hate it because, like, me and my ex, like, we're just like, we were fairly stable, like, we never got married or anything like that, but we were together for like 11 years. And yeah, no, we kept house, and we, like, I mean, we went on vacations and stuff like that when we could, and just, like, did normal family stuff. But, like, no, we weren't, like, always fighting and doing all sorts of shit like that. We were never those kinds of people. where like because like my older brother would always like it's crazy my dad would be like you need to go sort out stuff with your brother, you need to go to his house and sort it out between him and his little girlfriend. I have never once called my parents and be like come and sort out my relationship. Never in my fucking life. Because it wasn't their motherfucking business. After a certain point, if I'm grown with kids, nigga, what do I need you here for to do anything? Especially because you niggas are divorced. Clearly you don't know shit about relationships. Like, what are you gonna tell me? Especially with my dad, the way he just spent like most of the relationship just cheating on my mom and having kids outside of the marriage. What the fuck is he gonna do? What the fuck is he gonna say? This man has no wisdom. He is like into his old age now, has still been popping out kids because he's too fucking stupid to put on a condom. Like, brother, what can you tell me that I already don't know? Like when me and my ex did finally have our outs and finally was just like, all right, enough. Never called anybody, not in my family. What the fuck was they gonna tell me? How many of y'all have failed relationship after failed relationship after failed relationship because y'all don't know how to communicate, y'all don't know how to set y'all boundaries, y'all don't know how to uh state needs and things like that. And like for a long time, like me and my ex had a very intimate relationship. We had a very close relationship, but unfortunately, he thought, actually, not even unfortunately, fortunately, he thought the grass was greener elsewhere and thought that he could do better. Thought that, like, when I was going through my depression, that he didn't want to have to take care of a broken woman. Why would he want to do that? That he has a business to run. He's too busy. He has stuff to do. He doesn't have time to be sitting at home with a woman that's just gonna cry all fucking day. He has pictures to go take. He has fine bitches to go be around. He has women that want them to walk him to their cars and stuff like that. Like he would come home and try to like make me jealous. It's like so funny because I'm just like I don't give a shit. Like I even gave him like an open door and I was just like, all right, if you want some of these bitches, go for it. But I'm just like, but just remember, like you can go have any of these motherfuckers that you want. But please remember, don't think that you finna come immediately back to this bed and I'm just finna have you. Like you will not touch me. I will not have nothing to do with you for at least a week until you wash the stank of that other bitch off. And then, we'll go from there. So he actually never took me up on an offer, even though he made it very, like, he tried to make it clear that that was what he wanted. He wanted other bitches, but when I gave him the option, he never took it. And then after we broke up, he's just like, man, I kind of realized what I don't have. And there was at one point before there was at one point he was like he was definitely trying to pull the whole I miss you, and I was just like I am actually seeing someone and have been for a couple of months. And then he was mad, then he was real mad. And yeah, it wasn't that he missed me, it was that he missed what I did for him. And there's a difference there, right? It wasn't that he missed me, he missed what I did for him. And I can do that for other motherfuckers. And there was one person that like I said, we dated for a couple of months, and even he was just like turned out to be a total letdown, and that just was what it was. Cause like I'm honestly I'm not gonna be here telling you this is how I don't like this. I don't like to be treated like this. I'm trying to tell you my feelings. I'm trying to tell you how certain things make me feel, and you're just choosing to ignore me. But then let it be some drama or some shit like that, and it's just like, oh, haha, yeah, I heard about that, and oh, now you can respond. Now you can talk to me. Hey, fuck you. Get that childish shit out of here, okay? I'm too old for that. We too old for this. We too old for you to be this fucking childish. Like, I know I'm only 31, but I've grown and matured past a lot of shit that people my age still want to do. Like, I get that the pandemic was really fucked up a lot of people and it's really fucked up people's mentalities and shit like that. And it's honestly it's so crazy that like so many people out here are just wasting time, wasting effort, wasting just everything, just being a waste of time, waste of space, and just fucking people over, right? It really is sad because it doesn't have to be like this. Like, it feels like people don't remember what loyalty is. Everybody's eyes are too big for their stomach, and nobody wants to accept the consequences of those actions. It's crazy. Excuse me. Because it's just like, okay, I want, like, I hate the phrase that people want to have their cake and eat it too, because it's like cake is meant to be fucking eaten as cake, but it's like I hate to say that I get it because I hate the phrase, but I get it. Like, no, you can't have it both ways. Like, you can't sit here and fuck around with somebody's feelings and then think that they still gonna fuck with you, right? Like, just no. And then when I have regrets, want to walk back and be like, oh, I'm like, don't don't have remorse when you've lost that thing, right? Don't all of a sudden be like, oh, I can't believe, like, yes you can, yes you can. You can believe it because in the moment that you were acting like this, in the moment that you did this, in the moment that you felt like saying this to me, you had no problems with that. Your conscience was clear. You had no ulterior feelings about that. You was gonna say what you wanted to say and feel how you wanted to feel. And I think that you should continue to say that thing and feel that way even now. Don't tell me you have regrets. Don't, because you knew how hurtful that thing was in that moment. Your intent was to hurt. Congratulations, you accomplished what you set out to do. Now, please do not be surprised when I'm like, all right, well, now I would like to stay away from you. Now I do not want you in my space. Now I do not trust you as a person. Now I would like nothing to do with you. Because if you're willing to do this once and then be like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, what's to stop you from doing it again and then also being like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry? Like, if you were willing to do it once, you'll be willing to do it again. It doesn't stop. People don't change that. Like, there's, it takes a lot for someone to have a conscientious shift of personality and behavior like that. It takes a lot. And a lot of people are not willing to do that. A lot of people are not willing to go through that. A lot of people are not willing to even act like for 1 second that they are a different person. Or maybe they will. I don't know. I mean, my ex is a hustler. He's a born liar. So he'll say whatever he needs to get whatever he needs to. Like, I've noticed that from Lee John. Like, Lee John will say whatever it is he needs to get whatever he needs to. It don't matter if it's the truth or not. He got what he needed. Like, it just is what it is. Sad, but it is what it is. And yeah, no, it just really opened my eyes to, like, damn, you really are not the person I thought you were. And that's okay. And it's funny because there was a conversation we had. This is after we had broken up. This is like maybe like a year or so after. And I was just like, I really miss the person you used to be. And he was like, "Oh, I wasn't really that person. I just didn't want people to be mean to me." And I was like, "Holy shit, what a psychopath." Like, I've never really known you at all. I thought I did. I thought I knew something about you. But no, I guess just this whole thing was an act. I guess I spent so many years of my life being open and honest and thinking I'm being genuine with you and you're being genuine with me. And now it makes sense that we never got married. Now it makes sense that we never really took that relationship to the next level because, like, I wasn't what you actually wanted. You just liked what I did for you. And that was it. And, that's okay. Sometimes people just are like that. And now that we're not together, and again, like, he swore up and down, like, I don't bring no girls home and all this other stuff, and he's a changed Christian man and all this other shit, and yeah, 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 yeah. Fuck Dr. Disrespect. What a fucking loser. But yeah, no, I I can't tell you nothing about him honestly. Not now, because I pretty much blocked him on everything. Like honestly, like it's like as much as I wanted to have a good relationship with you and I thought we'd have a good relationship, co-parenting and things like that, you just made it very clear that you genuinely do not give a fuck as long as you get what you want out of me. And I have nothing to offer you. It's not my job. It's no longer in my description. So I guess that pretty much just ends this off. I guess this will be episode one. I'll call it the clouds and rain, which is what I've been wanting to call my podcast anyway, the clouds and rain. Except there are no clouds. I don't have any weed. Unfortunately, I've had to prioritize other things, and as much as I want to hit up one of those newfangled dispensaries that we've got here in Cincinnati, I don't have I have other things I have to prioritize, and weed is not one of them. It probably won't be until I get this living situation settled. So once I am able to get all that settled and put a roof over my head and food on the table and stuff like that, then we'll worry about drugs and recreation. But until then, this has been Rain talking about things that are not in your job description. It is not your job. It is not your job to make people happy. It is not your job to change people. If they want to change, they'll do it themselves. But a lot of people don't find anything wrong with the shit that they do, even when someone points out how fucked up it is. So, do what you want with that information, and hopefully have a nice day. Bye bye.